So it is day 4 of Active Minds Spirit Week. So just a quick recap here. We have been talking about wholeness as our topic. So day 1, Monday, we talked about what is wholeness? What does it mean to you? What does it look like in your life? Day 2, we talked about kind of the things that get in the way of wholeness. So what takes that away? What takes that balance away? Balance is a word that we heard quite a few times from different people. Day 3, then, we talked about things that lead to wholeness. So what do you prioritize in your life to incite wholeness? Today is day 4, and the question is, Dave Lassell, the question is, what are barriers to finding wholeness in your life? So what takes away any sense of wholeness? What hinders you feeling whole?
Oh, this is Bluetooth. Okay, or wireless, whatever. I think for me, what makes me not feel whole, or a barrier, I guess, not necessarily what makes me not feel whole, but keeps me from achieving that enlightenment, is insecurity, because I don't want to acknowledge certain barriers that are in place. So I'm insecure, and because I'm insecure, I don't want to admit that I have a problem. So does that make sense? Like, the insecurity is not the actual thing causing me the issue, but it's keeping me from acknowledging the issue, if that makes sense.
So it's like keeping you from being upfront with yourself and unable to address why you're not feeling whole.
Yeah.
And just thinking about like what being upfront with yourself would look like. If you were more upfront with yourself and less insecure about that, less timid with asking yourself the real questions, what would you ask yourself to create wholeness, about what's getting in the way of your wholeness?
So this kind of goes with like male ego, but I'd ask like myself honestly, like, what actually hurts my feelings, and like being upfront, like, oh, that did hurt my feelings about something, instead of just being like, oh, that shouldn't affect me. Like, oh, maybe it did affect me. Like, not trying to be a tough guy all the time with certain things. You know what I mean?
I like that. So like acknowledging the fact that, oh, things are not great right now. I am not doing great. This is why. This is what's happening. My feelings are hurt, or, you know, stuff like that. Like really acknowledging how you're feeling and why. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I probably could do more of that myself in terms of like asking, why am I not feeling great right now? Well, as we discussed on day 2, it's because I'm not whole. That's why I'm not feeling great. And so your answer to the question of what gets in the way of wholeness was just really insightful. So thank you for your perspective, and stay tuned for the rest of day 4. Continuing day 4 here, I have another question for another person. Andrew, my question for you during day 4 of Active Minds Spirit Week, the theme is wholeness. He's like going blind here. Like, I just walked up to him and he has no idea what this is for, so I kind of have to introduce him. The theme is wholeness. So when you think of wholeness in your life, like the wholeness that you have, the wholeness that you create for yourself, a word that some other students have been using is balance. So if that helps, like what balance looks like in your life. My question for you is, what gets in the way of wholeness for you?
I think it would be just the lack of sleep, because college students, we don't get a lot of sleep because we are expected to study 2 or 3 times the amount of lecture that we have just to understand for exams and stuff. And so it's not just school, we also have lives outside of it. And so yeah, sleep.
Andrew said sleep. So when you say sleep, is that a part of the balance? Like, is that a piece of the pie? Or when you don't get sleep, that affects everything?
It's both, actually, because like sleep does give you that rest that you would need to restart and like just get a new jump start to your day. But then if you don't have it, you're just cranky, you're tired, you're barely remembering anything that you've learned, and so you're just chugging along on empty. So
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Wow, you really hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, I get that. Sleep is like a really big thing, and I feel like I don't know how like people did it in high school because I don't know if you remember high school. But like we were waking up at like 7:30 a.m. generally earlier, like 6:30. I think my first class started at 7:45 in high school. Yeah, I don't even know how that was possible. And so now, like, sleep is more important because we have to have the structure because we may have like more free time, but the structure itself is like what we need sleep to maintain. I don't know. Sleep is important. So, thank you very much for your thoughts on wholeness because as a nursing major, I know you have to prioritize that. So, thank you for being an expert here on our video.